Hi, my name is Pavel. So I'm a recent PhD graduate, and I guess, as a lot of people in my shoes would attest, it's not the most pleasant feeling. You'd think like you have done something amazing, and I'm honestly really making this video just to try and help myself and process what just happened and where am I supposed to go. So let me start by saying I got my PhD in biomedical sciences, specifically in protein characterization, membrane protein characterization by nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, or NMR. And I was studying this phenomenon of programmed cell death or apoptosis for about 3.5 years, trying to characterize different proteins and the influence of the lipid environment, for example, on their interactions and so on and so forth. So, this has been a very interesting journey to me. It's been a journey of satisfying my own curiosity and the journey of trying to find myself and the journey of disappointment and progressive disappointment in science and progressive disappointment in my understanding that science is not the same as research, wherein I always thought that it's the same, one and the same thing, but in fact, it actually could not be more different. Research is doing the thing, for a long. Coming up with hypotheses, testing it, and obtaining results and so on. While science, to me at least, is just more of a collection of knowledge that you can acquire over the course of years, and you can get a degree in that, for example, right? So that was the first big disconnect that I found, which is that science. I'm still a scientist. I do like science. I like learning new things, and I'm always curious about something new. But what I'm not curious about, I think almost at all, is discover that. Trying to discover that working in a laboratory and just like facing frustration, facing the doubt, facing all those things that practically are very difficult to handle if that's the only thing you really see. And I wish I knew exactly what that would mean, and before I started. So now, after 3.5 years of this journey, I realized that's not the path I want to continue going on. But that really leaves me with a bigger question, which is, what the hell am I supposed to do? Right? I mean, that's doing that kind of research puts you in a very unique box, and small box at that, because ultimately you are really faced with trying to solve a particular question with a particular protein with a particular technique. So if I were to sum up everything I've done, I could probably do it in one page summary. And that's you could say that that's a shame, but I guess more importantly, that just means like I'm not prepared for what's out there, or as effectively as I want to be prepared for what's out there in a larger world, in a context of drug discovery, patient engagement, clinical trials, you name it. So many different things that are out there that have nothing to do with the science that I was doing. And another revelation I had was doing the PhD really meant being detached from the outside world, from the outside perspective on the advances in technology, advances in our understanding of science as a whole, and what the place of research is for people, and where that fits in the current framework of societal interest, societal engagement, all those things. And basically now sort of emerging, if you will, from this journey really makes me scared about what can I really offer to the community based on the skills that I've acquired or haven't acquired, rather. And I think that's something that a lot of people say, and that's what's called imposter syndrome or something like that. And I think maybe people experience it in slightly different ways. But to me, it just means I think I've missed out on some things, and I think my skill set is not necessarily up to the standard of what may be required out there. But having said that, you can ignore everything that I've just said because I honestly have no idea what am I supposed to do in life. And that's a different type of discussion. So if I were to try and break down what is the place that what place can I fit in terms of my skill set, I can probably break it down like this. And I try and explain this to people whenever somebody asks me, so what do you like to do and things like that. I basically say there's like two things that I like to do in life. I like to learn new things, and I like to teach them to other people. And that may be like a very broad explanation, or it could be very narrow, depending on how you see it. But the way I perceive it is acquiring new knowledge by the virtue of setting up new experiments and so on and so forth. I don't know. I guess I was just burned. I was just burned by doing the research that I was doing, where 85% of what you do fails. That's the rate of failure that is too high for me, and I don't want that. I don't want that to be my life. I don't want to associate my life with doing the things that fail most of the time, and then at the end you get something that works. It did not bring me any tangible satisfaction, which is a shame, really, because that makes you, at least it made me, completely oblivious to the joy that once you have that result. I was like, I don't care. I just got tired. I got depressed, whatever. I was just not feeling any kind of victory when I achieved something. And frankly, continuing that path would probably lead to more dissatisfaction. And I could be wrong here, but like doing something like a postdoc, which a lot of people in my shoes would consider doing, would honestly make me feel like, and I could be wrong, it would make me feel like I'm just doing a disservice to what I feel I want to do. Having said that, I have not yet discovered exactly what that is that I want to be doing. But I guess the bottom line is I fear I would face the same level of frustration, same level of dissatisfaction with my work, and same level of disconnect with the work that other people are doing at large and making a difference in the world. So that's the stuff that I don't want to jump into again, especially now that I've emerged from it. And also it could be just feeling that I need a break. I mean, I haven't really had a chance to relax or really just get my mind off things, because now I'm in this process. I need to find a job in the next couple of, well, ideally days, because I'm about to finish everything that I have to do in my lab. And it's really a weird position to find yourself in, because all of a sudden you've been, climbing that mountain of PhD, and once you reach the top, you don't have a chance to look around and appreciate the view, or even look back and see what you've accomplished. As soon as you reach that top, you see that there is a mountain range in front of you that you don't have any equipment to try and climb now. Whatever you just did is rendered almost meaningless as compared to job hunting, which is an entirely different pursuit. And that's a whole other video. But in my shoes right now, I feel like that's just way too crazy of an undertaking to do immediately after. And it makes it kind of disheartening to just keep going, because you feel like you're supposed to stop at some point and just maybe reflect for a second. And that's partially the reason why I'm making this video, is just to have a chance to process what just happened, because everybody told me, oh, you need to take a break, you need to relax, you need to do all those things. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to do that for sure once I get a job, but I realize at the same time that's never gonna happen like this. if that's what I'm focused on. So it's funny to also reflect on the fact that as my preparation for PhD was a couple of years ago, when I was looking at all those videos or educational materials about what to expect from PhD, how to overcome it, and something like 10 things you should know before doing your PhD, all those things, and it just made me realize that no, I was not prepared. Even though I read and I watched all those videos and read all those posts, no, it was my own journey that was very unique, very stressful. It was at times excruciating and frustrating, and I could go on and on and on about it. Almost failing in my PhD, almost quitting, and all those things. That leaves a mark, that leaves an imprint, that leaves a certain level of distaste for what you're doing. But at the same time, there were good times too. So I would be the first to say I had a fantastic crew to help me and fantastic support system. But here I am at the top of the mountain, trying to understand what it is that I've just done, and more importantly, what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Because for the last 10 years after I finished high school, I was thinking, well, what's the goal? The goal probably over time was, trying to get that PhD. That was the ultimate prize. But what do you do after? Like, what's the next prize that you're gonna go towards for the next 5-10 years? Is it starting your own company? Is it just, I don't know. It's something that I'm yet to try and uncover in myself, and it's a journey again, and I feel like I've rewound the clock in some ways, and now I'm back to square one in the sense. Like, now I have a chance to come up with my own journey again. But that's the irony of it, is you think you're at the end of the road in some respects, but what you realize, the one road ended, and now there's a whole other journey that you have to take. One other interesting perspective I had recently was, I feel like I'm Bilbo Baggins. I came after my long journey, fighting a dragon, and I came back to Hobbiton, right? And I felt that in some ways my life was never the same after that. What do I go back to? Or I think now that I'm saying this, it's more like maybe Frodo, right? Where he was not unscathed at the end of the Lord of the Rings. He came back home, but he realized he doesn't have a place there anymore, and so he had to go on a different adventure that we'll never get to see. So this is kind of where I am. I feel like I've come back with all this experience and knowledge and perspective on life after doing the PhD, after studying, getting all those degrees and whatever. And now I have to find new meaning to my life. And I'm yet to see what that will be. So thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate your support. If you were there during this time, if you weren't there, if you're just listening to this because you're curious about PhD, thank you very much for your listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.